All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Matt from the 2025 EA Twitter fundraiser. I'm here with Will MacAskill himself, who likely needs no introduction for folks who are watching this. But in case anyone does, Will is a senior research fellow at the Forethought Institute and former associate professor at Oxford University. He co-founded Giving What We Can and the Center for Effective Altruism. He's the author of numerous books and articles, including Doing Good Better, What We Owe the Future, and my personal favorite, An Introduction to Utilitarianism. Thank you for joining us, Will.
Thanks for the interview.
So we're doing this in service of promoting effective giving. So I guess to start us off, we were curious to ask, what do you think the role of effective giving should be in the EA community in 2025? And maybe in particular, should people be more ambitious with trying to earn to give?
Yes, I mean, I think of effective giving as just an utterly core part of effective altruism. It was like the start of it all, and it just continues to be important. Also continues to be important even, if you see kind of mega donors coming on the scene, because there's often a lot of things that individuals can fund that the mega donors can't. And even taking the mega donors into account, there's still just enormous problems in the world that they are not going to be able to solve. And then should people be more ambitious? I mean, I genuinely just think yes. I think people systematically aren't ambitious enough. And so the answer is, almost always yes. And again, I just think the ambition you should have should match the scale of the problems that we're facing. And the scale of those problems is very large indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of those big problems, and the one that we're raising money for in this year's online fundraiser, is specifically farmed animal welfare. That's something that has been really popular with highly engaged EAs recently. I mean, if you look at, for example, the donation election on the forum, you'll see that there's really a lot of enthusiasm around that. But it's something that's maybe historically played a smaller role in public EA messaging. Do you think that's a good balance, or is that something that you would like to see change?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there was never some kind of grand plan of reducing the focus on animal welfare. Like I and some others kind of really got in via global health and development. And so I think that really set the stage. And there's a bit of a kind of founder effect there or something. Mm-hmm. And then I think it's also just the case that maybe there's just naturally kind of wider reach because more people are concerned. But yeah, I'd be down for that to change. I mean, the problem of factory farming, it's just so stark and just so unnecessary. The arguments for that are so good. And I remember when I became vegetarian 20 years ago now, getting old, I got a lot of pushback. It was quite a weird thing at the time, and that has changed. Now, the people who are vegetarian or vegan who really care about animal welfare, it's just clear that these are the good people that are on the right side of history. And then the amount of good that you can do is just absolutely enormous. The sheer amount you can affect is just absolutely huge. And so, yeah, I'd love to see that rise in prominence.
Very cool. Yeah. It's funny, when I was doing some research for this, I was looking back at old versions of the 80,000 Hours and Giving What We Can websites on the Wayback Machine. And I was surprised that the first ever archive of the 80,000 Hours page has farmed animal welfare as one of the issues on there. So it's yeah, you mentioned the founder effect, but I was pleasantly surprised to see just how early this was getting into EA messaging.
And I mean, we all cared. I was vegetarian. I helped a little known fact is I and others at 80,000 Hours we helped to set up animal charity evaluators. That got
I remember reading that at some point. Yeah.
And that was because we felt it was a gap at that point, and that was 2012 or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the ways that we're trying to promote the fundraiser is leaning into EA memes. And definitely that's something that's always been fun about the online EA community. Do you have a favorite EA meme that you've run across?
Yeah, I mean, I feel I have many favorites. One is, the kind of like April Fool's posts and like very
Uh-huh.
community naming what we can.
Hmm.
But then also, so I feel it's a shame that like Dustin Moskovitz is no longer memeing quite as hard as he used
Hmm.
to. But this was like something he did was there was a big debate on Reddit about people were complaining about Wyvern Abbey, and there was a debate in the comments between who bought it, who owned it, and one
Hmm.
person was saying it was Will MacAskill, and the other was saying it was Owen Cotton Barrett. And then someone came in, both of which is incorrect, and then someone came in and said, "What if it's neither of those people, but some mystery third person?" And that person, that commenter, like many threads down into this Reddit, was Dustin Moskovitz himself. So yeah, I salute him. Maybe not a meme per se, but part of the same culture.
Maybe if we lean in, we can get him to participate a little bit more again.
Maybe, yeah.
You did quite the media blitz back for What We Owe the Future. Was there a funniest or most unexpected story you have from that whirlwind tour?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that leaps out the most is when I was being interviewed by Tyler Cohen. Because podcasts normally, like, you chat a bit and then get, get a bit of warm up. But Tyler just immediately goes in and was like, okay, so what's something you like that's ineffective? I just couldn't think of an answer. I was just like, I went completely blank. So this gets edited from the podcast, but it was like bits of me just being like, then that kind of threw me off for the whole episode, really. It's not that I only like maximally efficient things, to be clear.
I sometimes listen to conversations with Tyler, and yeah, he sometimes has that energy where you really feel like he should let the guest take a breather.
Yeah, well, that was like right from the start. So
yeah. All right. Well, I know you've been doing some really exciting work at Forethought these days. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the work that's going on there and maybe what you're most excited about?
Sure. So Forethought in general is trying to do research that is as useful as possible in helping kind of the world as a whole navigate the transition to extremely advanced AI, super intelligence. And distinctively, we tend to not focus on the risk of loss of control to AI systems themselves. Like our work often does hit upon that or like help on that. And it's a big risk. We're glad that other people are working on it. But, I personally don't think by any means that makes up the majority or even the vast majority of the issues we face. We're often looking at like neglected issues other than that. So that can include the risk of intense concentration of power among humans, include the idea that, well, we should be taking seriously the kind of moral status of digital beings themselves and what kind of rights they have. And a number of like other issues as well, like how AI will interact with a society's ability to reason well and make good decisions. Maybe the thing I'll emphasize most at the moment, because I'm like very excited about it from an impact perspective, but I think people don't appreciate it quite enough, is the idea of model character or AI's personality, where there is now OpenAI has this model spec that they called it, and a Claude Soul was like leaked. But basically, these companies are having to make decisions about just how do these AIs behave. That affects hundreds of millions of people every day already, and then it will determine like how are most beings, most actors, most economic agents in the world acting. And there's a real spectrum that you can imagine between AI that's just as maximally like a tool as possible. It's just this like obedient servant versus an AI that like actually has its own sense of ethics and own conscience. And once you've got that, then like take every single hairy ethical issue or important circumstance the AIs will face. We really should be thinking in advance for how we want them to behave. And so I'd be keen for a lot more thought to be going into that.
Absolutely. No, that seems incredibly important. All right. Well, to close, is there anything else you want to tell the people of EA Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is just I have been loving what I've been seeing as a resurgence in EA activity online on Substack and Twitter in particular. Like, if you think I haven't been following along with popcorn on the like Andy Masley data center water usage story, you would be wrong. And honestly, I just loved seeing more people really coming out to bat for EA ideas, demonstrating EA ideas on all sorts of topics, whether that's data center usage or whether that's the kind of utter monstrosity of current shrimp factory farming. And so I would just love for more people to feel empowered, to be shouting about the giving they're doing, the causes that they're working on, and kind of demonstrating the impartial, altruistic scout mindset that I think is EA at its best.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Post more.
Cool. And thanks to the fundraiser. Thanks to everybody who's contributed. It's very, very cool to see this.
Yes, we definitely are really grateful for everyone who's donated so far and who will continue to donate, because Animal Welfare Fund is awesome, and supporting effective animal interventions is a really, really fantastic cause. All right, well, thank you, Will, for joining us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
It's been a joy. Cool. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.